And so I'm going to go to ArcGIS Online. Let me stipulate, if you have difficulty logging on to ArcGIS Online, please reach out to me. As a Temple student, you should be able to log directly on using your Temple credentials. If you have trouble with that, I'd like to know. In any case, you can see I am logged in to my Temple account, and when I am, it tells me, here you are. So the first time you go to ArcGIS Online, you have to create an account and use your Temple credentials. And then I'm going to create a new map by clicking on Map. I'm going to find that file. I'm going to grab my CSV file, the file that I have located at PASDA, and open it in Arc Online. So I'm going to say Add Layer from File, and that'll allow me to say Choose File. You'll notice it's equipped to read CSV files. And it tells you here that it can have addresses or coordinate locations. I'm going to open one of each of those. So first, I'll say Choose File, and I need to navigate to the place where my data are. And here I've got this file called Community Gardens. It looks like this. The Philadelphia Community Gardens file is just a real basic file. It has an address. It has a name of the garden. It then has the address, the city, state, and zip code. So it doesn't have anything except its location, and it doesn't have a latitude and longitude. But keep in mind it has 5 fields, 5 columns. I'm going to say Import Layer and find those Philadelphia Community Gardens and say Open and Import Layer. And it's going to figure out where these are just by parsing that address. I'm going to tell it that zip is the address, the zip code field. And by reading that data table, it's able to place these using a process called geocoding. We won't go into how exactly that works. And you might notice that when it opens it up, it's using the zip code field. So the points that have bigger zip code numbers are bigger dots on this map. I can change that just by scrolling down these various display options to Location Single Symbol and selecting that, and now all these points look the same. Because for now, we're just interested in where are these locations on the surface of the Earth. And you can see we took this data table, didn't even have latitude and longitude on it, and ArcGIS has been able to convert that, and now into points on a map. And I'm able to think about, okay, so why are those there? As I was saying before, my basic assumption here is that the distribution of these locations has a lot to do with where people are. So if I were to start asking myself, well, how do I prove that? Or how do I examine that? In ArcGIS Online, I can add layers, so I can add additional data. So I can go to the Living Atlas. I can also search for layers, and it's going to search its online data repository for stuff. A lot of it comes from the Census Bureau, and so here I'm going to go to the Living Atlas and look for, you can tell it what to look for, or it can kick out things that it thinks you might be interested in. It's generally wrong in my case. But here, I'm just going to search for population. Where are people? And it's going to put in boundaries. When I click on that, what it's doing is it's going to give me control over how it divides those boundaries up. I'll talk about that in a minute. But first I'm just going to say add that to the map. And you'll see that behind my data points, I'll see a map of population. Well, right now it's in front of my data points, and so I want it to be behind my data points. So I'm going to click here and look at the details, which allows me to see and turn on my community garden points, and I'm going to drag them so that they're on top of this other stuff if I can. Here we go. So I click on the triple dots to the left of the item, and that allows me to rearrange them. And now I can kind of see that it looks like the community gardens seem to be largely in these areas that have light colors. It's not totally true, it's just harder to see the other points. And so one thing I can do is find those community gardens and click on the Symbology tab. I can change the style. And in this case, I'm working with a single symbol. By clicking on Options, I can change the colors somewhere. Here we go. And I think I'll make them orange so they show up a little more vividly. And I can make them bigger also by clicking on the symbol, I guess. Yeah, here. I'll make them, that might be too big. I'll make them this big. There they are. And you can kind of see that they're largely distributed in places where people are, or near places where people are. Now that's sort of the story I can tell with this map. What have I done? I have taken some points. I've taken a look at the structure of the data that I receive. I've put those into a GIS, which enables me then to look at the spatial distribution of those points, which sometimes by itself will tell me something. I'll see they're totally clustered, or they're scattered in a way that seems random. And then if they are scattered around, and I'm like, well, some of them seem to be kind of constellated. That's what I was observing without population turned on. And now that I look at where people are, I can see, okay, they seem to be, close to where the people are. Kind of obvious, right? But that's the story that the map allows me to tell. Now that's how far I want you to get with this. I want you to open up a file, learn how to do that. In your case, we might need to do a little preparatory work with your data first. That's fine. We can be in touch about that, about what you need to do. And I'll be adding some detail and additional video to this in case you need to do some pre-processing, like randomly selecting rows. That'll be the video below this one. If you have run into another trouble or another issue, look for additional informational videos. It'll be short, just like, here's how to solve this problem. And we'll be in touch. Ultimately, what I want you to do is just get this far and think about what this process reveals, in your case, with your data, based on your sort of own gut level reaction to or expectations about the phenomenon you're looking at, and share that with the group. It's due a week from today. I'm going to set up the space where you can submit it, and it will be a voice thread, just like the ones we've been using. Look for instructions on how to interact with that at the assignment page on Canvas.